First item is if there is any public comment on issues with audit committee jurisdiction. Okay, seeing none.
Can I just check? Cindy, can you hear us okay?
Next item, approval of the February 22nd, 2023 minutes. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review those minutes. Are there any changes? If not, I'd ask for a motion.
I wasn't at the meeting, but I would move for approval because I did read them and.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Minutes are approved. We'll move to the executive director comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did just do a quick tour. I think the thing that you didn't know along the walk was we are fully compliant with the SOC findings. All of the mail is external. No one can get in without those badges that you all now have. Peggy McEwen was the lead on that. So the floor is secure. We'll have the electrical and the backups installed over the summer. So we'll be good to go. Capital budget's in place. Next year, focus will be on the park building and possibly the parking lots for just maintenance type issues. Not that that's an audit thing, but the SOC audit was a thing. So I spun out into the buildings. And then Julie, we have not received a date on legislative audit committee meeting. Is it June 8th?
Yeah, Dan, we haven't received the official notice, but their calendar as of this morning is still showing June 8th and 9th.
So our fiscal 22 audit will be up for that time. Recall no findings, no recommendations, so it should be all of 30 seconds, but it's still a thing. Whipfly, we did get the SOC audit timetables. They'll be in for field work later this spring. And we still haven't gotten an engagement letter from legislative audit for this fiscal year, but we didn't get one until very late last year. I don't anticipate them being any faster this year. So other than that, nothing else, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Then can I turn over to Julie to go over the audit checklist? Anything on the audit checklist that we should be aware of, Julie?
Yeah, I'll just mention, Dan did touch on that we do have the Legislative Audit Committee that's scheduled tentatively for June 8th and 9th. Our SOC audit, we're having walkthroughs. 3 days in June, we're going to do the walkthroughs with staff. And Whipfly is scheduled for their final week of testing on July 24th. We are also working on updates to provide Whipfly for the controls section of the report, which is our responsibility of providing and updating. All the voting members have signed the ethics policy for 2023. BOI did report to the Teachers Retirement Systems Board on February 24th. We have been reviewing our COOP procedures, and we've also been reviewing our internal control procedures. During March, we sent the annual local government STIF confirmation letters. These letters are sent to both the governing body as well as the authorized representative per the resolution. We had 184 accounts with local governments that we sent notices to. And then something that did not make your checklist that we have completed as of the meeting, but as of the end of March, we also sent STIF confirmation letters to the 350 state agency STIF account holders. These confirmations, we're asking them to provide clarification or updates if the information is inaccurate. If the information is correct, the entities do not have to do anything with it. Something else that I will call your attention to, there was a checklist item that was changed at the very end of your checklist. If you look under other responsibilities, item C there was changed to match the charter. So I just wanted to call that out since we don't change those items very often.
Julie, a couple questions here. So the presentation, you mentioned the presentation TRS board, that's because that's required in law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and for our edification, COOP means what?
Continuity of operations plan.
Okay, thank you. Since that's no longer identified, that's one item that you changed in the checklist. So continuous of operations plan, and then we are not, the audit committee is not looking at the COOP plan or the internal controls. We're relying on staff to manage those controls, and we're relying on the SOC audit to verify those controls for us. Is that fair to say, Julie?
Correct. It's management's responsibility and prerogative of what items we identify in our COOP plan as that are immediately necessary, and those are necessary like in a 3 to 14 day time period. Also, the internal control procedures, that is a management's discretion as to what controls we will have in place to operate.
Okay. And the STIP confirmation letters, what's that? Is that as of a certain date, or when is that for?
Yeah, we send out those confirmation letters on an annual basis, and we will pull the report. I think the reports were pulled either the end of February, first part of March, for the account holders in place at that time. So what'll occur after those letters are sent out, for example, with the local government STIP confirmation letters, many local governments will actually provide us a new resolution or an updated resolution dictating who their authorized representative is for their account and the authorities that that authorized representative has under that resolution. With the state agency confirmations, many times there will be entity users that have changed or moved on to other locations with other agencies. So this is an opportunity for both the local governments and the state agencies to verify their users and their security on their STIP accounts that they are the owners of.
Okay, so, but you're not asking them to confirm a balance in their STIP account?
No, we are approaching this purely from more of a security standpoint, Mark.
Got it, okay, all right, good to know.
Could I ask a question, Mark? In the past, some of those account holders didn't ever respond. Do we have any account holders, local entities primarily, that don't respond or what you would consider not complying with our letter?
So Jack, these letters that are sent out, we're asking for only updates if something needs to be changed. So our expectation is the vast majority of them will never respond to these letters.
We changed it a few years ago for exactly that reason of we'd send out hundreds of letters and then follow up on hundreds of letters to get a no change, everything's fine. Now it's a, if there's a change, let us know. So it's a negative confirmation almost, like we assume Johnny's still the county treasurer unless you tell us Johnny's not the county treasurer. That way we don't have to waste a bunch of staff time following up on a bunch of letters to get a no change, everything's fine.
But does that constitute a risk to the board in that there could be people unauthorized trying to trade with us?
They wouldn't have usernames or passwords. So they wouldn't be able to, if Johnny's authorized, Johnny needs to be authorized to do those transactions. Now, if a local government doesn't have appropriate controls and says, well, Johnny left and Susie's now the treasurer and here's the username and password, that's beyond our purview, which is why we try to at least annually touch base with them and make sure that they're still the right people and someone at the county is keeping a hand on that, or the local government or the school district, whoever. State agencies, it's more a reflection of people move around a lot. And you might be Central Services Administrator, DOR this year, and next year you'll be Central Services Administrator at DNRC. State agencies are a lot better at updating those things than local governments, but it's still something we like to touch base on.
So that's a good, sir, can I ask a question there, Mark? So these people that are signing in, do they have like C numbers then, like the state employees do?
No, they just have
They have a sign on, like
they have a
from
sign-on.
tech, they have somebody that, okay.
We've looked at two-factor authentication, and I think at some time in the near future, we're gonna have to implement that. Actually, we were gonna implement it this spring, but the last thing I wanted to do was give everybody a legislative session to deal with, and new usernames and passwords, and a RSA token. That is how you start revolutions. So at some point soon, we're going to have to implement some form of two-factor authentication. What that looks like, I don't know. We'll work with the TA.
Thank you.
And Maggie, just for clarification, this is not access to the state's network system. This is access to State Street Bank's portal that the STIP users use through the transfer agency or TA.
So even our agencies and state agencies have a separate sign on to State Street, they have
Yep.
their, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Any other questions from committee members? Anybody else? Okay, we don't have any decisions. This is making my tenure as chairman easy. So with that, I will call the audit committee closed.